Welcome back to another Movies with Andy. Today's movie is The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Hang on.
What happens when you're not there to protect him?
You good?
Djarin and Grogu are back for another Star Wars adventure, but this time on the big screen. But before we begin, this review is brought to you by Te Salud. They actually just released their new line of skin and beauty. It comes with a lot of great vitamins for your hair and skin, and I have the unflavored one and the pomegranate flavor. And if you want 10% off your order, make sure you use the code ANDY10. Yes, that's ANDY10 for 10% off your whole order. And there's 2 other amazing flavors for the skin and beauty, so make sure you go check those out. Thank you very much, Te Salud. Now back to the review. So let me talk about things that I liked about this film. Of course, Pedro Pascal always does an amazing job as the Mandalorian. What I like about him is that he's so expressive even with the mask on. I think this movie only showed his face once, which is crazy for a big time actor like him to only show his face one time throughout the whole movie. But even then with the mask on, you can still tell what kind of emotions he's feeling, which I thought was great. And not only that, but he does an amazing job with all the action sequences. Yeah, so he's wearing a full body armor while fighting multiple people, which is just amazing. And going off of that, the action sequences in this movie were great. I feel like there was just so much fun, especially the first 5 to 15 minutes of this movie. I just feel like we got a badass version of Din Djarin for the first time ever, because he's just going off in the first 15 minutes of this film. It was just really cool to see the Mandalorian on the big screen with all these amazing action sequences. And also, this movie's just so much fun. For me, it felt like an awesome Western cowboy space adventure. And this movie was just very fun with all the adventures we gotta go through in this film. And of course, Grogu is always a big standout. He just did so much in this movie, and he even got his little time to shine in there. Not just by helping out his dad, but by actually saving him. And Grogu actually got a time in this film where it was just him by himself, and it was just really cool to see how he adapted and what he was doing. So it was just nice to see Grogu doing way more in this movie. And I had no idea that Jeremy Allen White was in this movie, as a voiceover of course, and he actually plays Jabba the Hutt's son, but he's like this big buff version of Jabba the Hutt, which it was just so cool to see a Hutt beating people up and being a somewhat good guy in this movie. Jeremy Allen White just did such an amazing job by bringing charisma and cockiness to this character. But being Jabba the Hutt's son, he is trying to build a name for himself away from his father, which it was just a really cool part of the story for his character. And then although it wasn't the longest fight, the last fight sequence in this movie was pretty badass. And this is a no spoiler review, but it was such a badass fight. And that was some things that I didn't really like. This is something I liked but didn't like always. This movie did feel way more kid-centered, which isn't a bad thing, but the show didn't feel like that. I feel like the show got way more into politics and was a little darker. This one was just way more lighter and kid-centered. So it didn't get too dark, and even with the action sequences, it kept it really light. Like I know in the Disney Plus show, people did get decapitated and things like that, but not in this one. They kept it really PG. And now going off of the Disney Plus show, this kind of did feel like a show in the way that this movie kind of felt like it was broken up into segments. And you kind of feel that while you're watching it, because it feels like you begin the show and then it ends and then it begin another part and then it ends, which if they were going to do that, I feel like it should have just stayed on Disney Plus. And also with the story, it kind of feels like it pivots. Like the first half of the movie, it just feels like they're really just trying to take down the Empire, and the second half just changes to something completely different. So that's what I mean when I say that it feels like different episodes in a movie. And I know it's a movie, but I did feel like there was a lot of times that there was just a lot of conveniences for Din Djarin. Like he just never felt like he was in real danger. And when he was in danger, something would happen to just save him right away, which kind of sucks because I just feel like it took away from the stakes of the movie. Also, I do wish that we saw a little bit more of Sigourney Weaver's character in this movie, because the parts that she did come out, she did an amazing job. So I do wish that we got a little bit more of her. So now, would I watch The Mandalorian and Grogu in the theaters again? Honestly, I don't think I would go back to the movies to watch it again. I think I would just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus, because although it is a very fun movie, I feel like it could have just stayed on Disney Plus. And it kind of just felt like a season 4 of The Mandalorian, which Jon Favreau is such an amazing director, and I know he loves the Star Wars universe. So seeing it on the big screen was a really cool experience. But unfortunately, with the movie feeling like episodes within the movie, I just feel like that affected it a lot. And especially with the transition of the story in the middle of the movie. But you let me know, what did you think about The Mandalorian and Grogu? Are you gonna watch it in the theaters this weekend? And if you did, I would love to hear what you thought about it. Don't forget forget to like, share, and subscribe for more movie reviews every week.